Right, so this background photo, it's my daughter. Yesterday we did a blood test just to check on for nuts allergy. Let's stay to the topic right now. So I've discussed about like private schools and and the difference of a government school. I've got like my coworkers who are a lot more older than me. Their kids are probably the same age as me, and they're taking their kids to grandma, and they explain like X, Y, and Z. Look, if my kids is smart, or if the kids are smart, it's worth going to a private school or whatever. Well, if taking your kids to grandma back in the days, it's actually affordable than nowadays, which I'm not going to explain how much it is. Probably 50K a year nowadays, grandma, 50 or 60K. All right, that's including everything. Then they explained to me like, well, before I get into the topic, they're like, well, why do you invest in your kids to go to private school? Um, let's just say 14,000 a year, and in 10 years' time, that's 140,000. Or you would have saved 140,000 to do something else, maybe start a business or starting something. And I try to explain to them the reason behind, such as like, myself, who went to one of the worst government school, which I'm going to show you which school it is, and it's heavily migrant area. And the reason why I'm speaking about, I'm nothing against with migrants. I've all my friends are migrant background. I never stick to my own kind, Asians or Chinese. I've stayed with the islanders, the Iraqis, Iranis, Afghanistan. Um, I can't even people Lebanese and as well Turkish as well, and I've never gone to my own kind. So that was the my friend's circle, but that's back then, and it's rough because of they they bring that sort of gang mentality, clan mentality, boyhood mentality on wanting to be part of the group and doing something to be cool, and it's a hierarchy, power hierarchy structure school as well, where all the kids are fighting for to being the cool kids and things like that. Some of them were joining gangs as well and having gang tattoos, and I'm just saying, etc., etc., etc. And this is back in what my years 2003. All right, and many of them who are high school dropout, including myself, only finished year 10, 2006. So yeah, that's about it. Just a little context on that, but I'll just stay to the topic, the reason behind where, there's a lot of this power hierarchy. If you go into the poor suburbs, what is the difference between going to, for example, let's just say, I can't say Ivanhoe because that's over the top. Let's just say a suburb is like a good suburb and you have a good neighboring. I won't say the best or good or mid. I just say good. That's below mid. All right. And you go to a school further out, you're taking your kids to live further out where heavily immigrants are flooding in, and those are coming from war torn, or those are coming from child protection kids and or X, Y, and Z. And the education level they have to dumb down just to meet everyone's criteria and learning curve based on their migrant first speaking language of English introduced in their life. So that's the way how it is. And in my school we have that a lot, and we crave. I remember, and I'm very ashamed to say this, like killing the police, dream of killing the police, because we listen to NWA. I've joined in back when I was a kid, joining the group like fuck the police, basically. I'm very regret for doing that, but I was young. Social media probably popped up after when I dropped out. That's 2006 and 2007. That's when the word of Facebook is getting popular. Everyone's getting social media, getting off the whole thing, and yeah. So I know it's 4 minutes in, but I'm pretty sure it interests you. And why I mention about nowadays is very important to take your kids to private school. First things first, right? The school that I mentioned is wanting to go. I'm not going to mention the school name, but which is going to be like a religious school, can be like a Catholic school, all right? And yeah, 14,000. I'm not expecting the child to be smart. If he's smart, he's smart. He's dumb, he's dumb, and that's something that everyone's is different. I'm not there for them to fight for their academic. That's not my goal. My goal is for my kid to grow up to be normality, and not to have emotional damage. What do I mean by emotional damage? Emotional damage is basically mean, in my definition, in the high school world, is you have this power structure. You wanted to fight on top. who's the bravest, who's the toughest. Whether you're stealing, whether you're robbing people, whether doing gang or related, or dealing drugs, selling drugs, doing drugs, go on fights at a very young age as a guy or as a girl as well. And girl have to be part of the group. They have to lose their virginity at the very young age, at maybe 13 or less, and probably have to do a couple of these boys. And the worst label, that even though the hierarchy, and if the other girls get jealous, the only label that they will shut them down in saying you're a whore or you're a slut. All right, they use that sort of wording just to try to bring you down. But the moment you have that reputation on, or he's a gang life, or he's a drug dealer, or he used to do that, or he used to be, screwing all the boys, this and that, just to be cool, all right? And girls had to be on the birth control at a very young age, so they can have, grow the size of their breast. That's what they're known for when they're very young age. And that's the way how it is, and that's emotional damage, because that was the world that you live in. You thought that was the only world where your parents doesn't do that, any of that stuff. Parents just regular people, just going to 9 to 5, bringing, try to bring money and bring food on the table, and making sure everyone's safe, and guiding through with mum and dad guidance, X, Y, and Z. That's what I'm saying, right? Now that's about it in that area. I'm not saying anything bad, but that's why I say emotional damage at a very young age, because of the power hierarchy. In comparison to a private school or grammar or whatever elite, all right, or government selective, is that okay? You're not mixing with that type of kid. You're mixing with people who has wanting to have the kids to be normal or high educated, or mixing with the right people, the right environment. That's the most important part. And that's why I said, nowadays is more important than ever than before. Yes, they're going to learn gender studies of X, Y, and Z and LGBT, but not too heavy, right, in comparison to the government. And not only just that, they'll grow up to be normality, right? Normality, and that's what every parent's role is, for their kids to grow up normality, based on their level, based on their environment. If the child to grow up to be gay, that is something, that's the way how it is. I'm not against it, but it's just for the normal process. We don't want to force them to do X, Y, and Z. Being parenthood is like that. Now getting back to this topic. All right, I go to Arthur Phillip High School. There's a Parramatta school shooting. I might just can't say anything. 7 years ago, it was the biggest news in 2015. It was the only school that has a shooting that killed the police. That's why I said I would have been one of these kids. Getting a gun, this and that. I've got kids that's having knives in my classmates and everything. A 15-year-old kid, I won't go too much details. I know the police headquarters is probably 1 or 2 streets away from this school. And this is the kid who killed the police. Obviously, he got killed on the spot. It's probably year 10, around there. So yeah, that's the hierarchy system that you're in. When you're in that hierarchy, you try to do cool stuff or whatever. But like I said, they say it's linked to ISIS, but I'm pretty sure they're trying to link it to something power hierarchy. I know I might sound very exaggerating the schooling in Melbourne, but it can be somewhat borderline or what's higher than others. So that's why I say in that area.